hands of the huntsman confronted me in the woods and asked me if I had been chased by the wolf. I told him no. And then he spoke the truth to me. He lifted up his axe and split me like a piece of wood. He said,
"The wolf is your friend, and I hunt him because of that."
As I stood there with my face cut in half, I asked him what it was he wanted from me.
"I want the flower.
He paused.
I want the beauty that you keep inside of you."
I looked at him and I could barely breathe, but I was able to say, "Why?"
"Because I have a flower inside of me, but I am afraid to touch it. I don't know how to get at it. It gets stuck in my throat, and it slows down my heart. It's the reason that I might die sooner than I choose, and so I thought if I could touch your flower, I could at least see how it works."
I said that my flower would not be like his flower, and he said,
"If I stole the flower from you, it would be mine."
I said, "You cannot steal my flower because it belongs to me." He said,
"Look at your head. I have cut it in half. The flower is there. It's mine to take."
I thought to myself that maybe he was right. But before I could give him the flower, he took it. He said it was more symbolic if he did. He took the flower and he took me. And he took the parts of me that were not cut. He cut those parts as well. When he was done, he left me in the road like kindling, too small for a fire. I sat there with nothing left until I felt the sun turn its back on me. In the middle of the night, the other one came. He picked up my pieces and took me to his home. In his home, he sewed me back together. He went into his garden and he carefully picked a bouquet that he then placed inside of me before he sewed me up completely. When I could see again, I looked into his eyes. He was the wolf. I said, "Thank you." He said,
"I am not human. My race is not much familiar with kindness. You would think that we would be vicious. Sometimes you would be right. But I have had dinner tonight. I do not need to eat you. It was the other one that I ate. The younger one, the one with the red hood."
He paused and picked his teeth with a sharp claw.
"Do not make a mistake. I am still an animal. But you did not deserve to be split in half that way. I have murdered the huntsman. He will bother you no more. And now I would like to keep you for myself, here in my home, to care for me as I age."
I looked around his home and saw that all he had were the things that he needed. I imagined colors and prints and things that might fill up the corners. I saw that the edges of the wolf's face were turning white, and that his whiskers were missing in so many places. I would outlive him, and this would become my home. He looked carefully, as if he could read my mind.
"Of course you can stay here, but there will be more huntsmen. Someone else will want your flower. That's why I gave you such a rich bouquet. Maybe you can find a way to keep enough of them so that you could live a long time here without me. Keep the smallest flower, the one that's not so pretty."
He ran his tongue over his teeth.
I'll try not to eat you. I can't promise you, though. I am a wolf. I do like little girls and huntsmen and almost anything with a heartbeat.
He stretched out a long leg and pressed his paw on my chest. His claws scratched my naked shoulder and left wounds that would last.
I won't marry you. It's not like it used to be. It's not allowed anymore, even though there are plenty who do it. But we will live together. And you will care for me and make sure I'm fed so that you can sleep soundly at night.
I felt the flowers bulging in my head so much that my eyes felt like they might pop. I looked into the wolf's face and nodded my head. There are so many ways to die. This seemed like one as good as any other.